This is an Allied AX190 communications receiver. It's basically a ham band receiver. It covers 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters. Has a section for 27 megahertz CB bands. This one covers lower and upper sideband and AM. I believe these came out in the early 1970s, and the SX190 was basically a shortwave receiver, and this one, the AX190, is a ham band receiver. Also has a Q multiplier. I found a service manual for the SX190, but I couldn't find one for the AX190, but I believe that the circuitry is similar. This one came home from a ham fest. The last time the guy used it, he said it worked okay. I don't know when that was, but obviously it wasn't the morning of the ham fest. But I don't get anything out of it here. I get a little pop in the receiver. In the speaker here, I've got the DX160 speaker hooked up to it. There's a 1/4-inch phone jack in the back. I'm going to connect a signal in. From this fluke generator. And we'll see if we get any signal in. Let's see. $14,250. We'll run the amplitude up here. Let's take it way up. Amplitude. Put 200 microvolts. Nothing on the S meter. Yeah, it's completely dead. I've got it on the 20 meter band. We should be receiving a signal right in here. At 200 microvolts, that should be booming in here. Nothing on the S meter. So it's definitely dead. Let's try the calibrator. I didn't even get anything from the calibrator. So, well, I guess we'll have to pop the lid off and see where the problem is. That'll be next. The RF comes in through a UHF connector on the back here. This is your RF board, and here's a pre-selector. You've got a variable cap in here. Pre-selector will tune your input circuits here. Here's a calibrator here, a crystal calibrator. It's got 25 kilohertz and 100 kilohertz markers you can use to check the accuracy of the dial here. There's a power supply in the back on the left side. Main filter caps. Here's the audio section here. Over here you got your IF stage here. And of course in the shielded can here is the VFO. So I guess the first step I'm going to do is check power supply. Yeah, this unit can run off of external 12 volts, or it's got the AC operated supply here. This is something I don't really care for. They got a fuse here, but it's in the output side of the transformer. I don't see any fuse on the input side. I don't think that's good engineering. I like to see a fuse in the AC line. Okay, let's see if we're getting any power here. The pilot lights come on. I'm going to make sure we got DC voltages here. Okay, we got 14.3 volts on the diodes. Common point of the diodes, and then the emitter of the regulator 9.5. So that sounds about right. Let's see, am I getting voltage over to my RF board? That should be pin 15. There's pin 15. It's hiding. $13, getting close. Ah, there it is. .7 volts. That does not sound right. Yeah, we don't have any voltage on that. Lights, pilot lights are still on. Nothing. We get 0. Okay, there's 9 volts and 11 on the IF board, which sounds reasonable. 22. Got 1 volt, that's not right. Yeah, that should be 11 volts, so we've lost. Let me verify that again. I shouldn't be leaning on the ground when I'm doing. Okay, I got 9.5 volts on 11, which is here. And yet where's 22? It's hiding on me. Okay, on 22 I have 0. Junction 22, which is here. So somewhere in here I'm losing my voltage. Let me check. Let's see. I'll try work back towards the front of the IF stage and see where I'm losing it here. Yeah. I'm going to check the solder connections on the back. We're losing our voltage here. That 9.5 volt bus, I'm losing it somewhere in this area. So I'm going to check and see if we can find. I think I'll turn off the power. and unplug it. Would be a good idea. Okay, make sure we're off here. Yeah, we got some flaky solder joints in here. I'm gonna touch up a couple of these and see where we go from there. Make sure I'm unplugged. I am. Warm up the soldering iron. Yeah, a lot of these joints are pretty old. Boy, there's a real bad joint there. There. Oh man, there's quite a few of them on the IF board. That's where I lose the plus voltage somewhere in this area. So I'm going to touch up a few joints. They just don't look right. Let's see. Where was that first one? Right here. And this one looked pretty bad. We'll hit that one. Kind of following this voltage rail back. I love the smell of rosin in the morning. I think someone's been in here. Where's that other bad one? Yeah, right here. This one is... Oh man, this one's real bad. Well, those are the worst ones. Let's see if we made any headway with that. Flip this over. And see what we get. Well, just for fun, I'm gonna hook a wire up, see if I can pick up any signals here. Kind of early for
Please stand by for second operator.
Well, we're getting something.
India, this is Victor Echo 3 India, Golf Sierra, and we got you with the 5-9 plus into Bolton Parks. Go ahead.
Well, I found where that bad solder joint was. It was power bus feeding the IF section. See if the calibrator works. Yeah, that's working. But that pre-selector is pretty sensitive.
And I'll also break with Julie with comments out of Sun City, Arizona, member station first.
I got the old DX160 speaker. Had that thing forever. Let's see the S meter.
Over 2 hours. Tango 2, go ahead.
Well, there it's working. This probably needs an alignment. I don't know. I think I'll put some LED bulbs in too. Boy, these are pretty dim.
Okay, very good. Charlie Tango 2, Juliet, Kilo, Juliet. My call is Whiskey 1, stroke George, India, 0, Mike, Papa, Tango. My name is Eamon, and I'm located about 23 miles south of Boston. And your report is 5 and 9 plus about 15-20. You're very loud here, and no trouble hearing you. I think the band's in good shape. And this antenna is a wire antenna. Just a wire antenna with 1 kilowatt. And I didn't get your...
The first part of this seems to be okay. All these transformers have wax in them. I'll have to clean that out. I'll go through an alignment on it. I didn't check the power supply for ripple. These have a reputation for a lot of hum, but it doesn't seem too bad. Let's try 40 meters. It's kind of early for that, but oops, I'm way off here. See if I can get some CW down here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that pre-selector is... You don't have to tune too far off till you have to readjust the pre-selector. Yeah, this meter's working. Boy, it has a nice feel of it, this dial I like. Well, not bad for a over 50-year-old receiver. Here's a view in the bottom here. Got your band switches here. And then your mode switch up here. All the controls seem to work good. Well, the purpose of this video was to fix this, and at least I got it working. I'm not going to go over the alignment in this video. Maybe if someone wants to see it. I do have a schematic. I do have a schematic for the SX190, and they're pretty similar. I checked the schematics over. Yeah, this is for the SX190. This schematic here. Here's a brief description of the operation of the 190 here. It applies to both the AX and the SX190. They're pretty much similar. Signal comes in through J1, and the pre-selection is done through these three switches, S1, A, B, and C, and the tuning is done by VC1, VC2, and VC3. In the 10 to 30 megahertz section, they just use the coils in the circuits here. In the lower frequency, 3.5 to 10 megahertz, they switch in extra inductance so they can tune down in the lower section there. And this is the 3-section capacitors in the pre-selector. Okay, then the signal's applied to a cascode circuit here, Q1 and Q3, which is the RF amplifier. The gain is controlled of Q1 by Q2 in the source of Q1, and that signal comes up from the AGC and the RF gain circuit. Then it's applied to Q4, which is your first mixer. So the signal, after coming through the pre-selector, is applied to the gate of Q4, and at the same time the signal from the first oscillator comes up here through and is applied to the source of Q4. Here the signals are mixed, and that produces your first IF. Your first heterodyne oscillator is Q5, and it's crystal controlled, it's fixed frequency, and you switch in a number of crystals for the different band segments that you want here, and then that signal is applied up through C4, and that's applied to the source of the first mixer. The output of the first mixer goes through a bandpass filter here, L8, L9, and L10, that filter the output of the first mixer here. The output of this bandpass filter is coupled through to Q8, which is the second mixer, and that receives a signal up through C34. You follow that down, going back to the other schematic. This is the VFO that provides the input to the second mixer, and this FET transistor, it's not marked, I believe it's Q9, is applied up to the second mixer, and it's also applied through Q10, which is a buffer amp. It's applied to J4 on the back of the receiver. So after mixing the first IF signal with the VFO signal through the second mixer Q8, it goes through the IF section here, which you've got Q13 and 14, which are IF amplifiers. You also have these filters here, mechanical filter 1 and 2, which provide your selectivity, most of your selectivity here. At the output here, on T11, you've got your AM detector diode Q5, and it's also tapped off at this point and is applied down to the AGC circuit. And here, the signal is rectified, produces a DC AGC voltage amplified by Q15, and that's applied through VR2, which is your RF gain control, but it's also this level here varies DC wise with the level of the input signal. So as the input signal comes up, your AGC voltage changes here. Also, at the output of T11, the signal is applied to this balanced mixer here, and this is used to demodulate single sideband signals here. You've got Q16, which is a BFO, which is controlled, its frequency is controlled by these two crystals here, and they produce the signal for demodulating the upper and lower sidebands here. And the output of the sideband demodulator here is amplified by Q17, and it's applied down to the audio amplifier. In the AM mode, detector diode D5 is the AM detector. It's applied up here through the noise limiter, which is up in this section here. And the noise limiter here basically cuts off impulse noise before it's coupled down through switch SW3D to the input of the audio amplifier here. The audio amp here, it has, let's see, 3 stages of amplification. You've got Q23 and 24, and then they drive a push-pull output stage here, and then your audio is applied out through the headphone jack, the speaker, and there's also a tape output here. The power supply is pretty much conventional here. You can apply 12 volts through a jack on the back here, or you can use the line transformer, and it's rectified here. D13 and D12 form a full wave center tap output here. Through the fuse, it's applied to Q22, which is a series regulator with a reference base voltage from a Zener diode here in the base, and then that's applied to your circuitry up through here. I notice there's a fuse here in the secondary, but I'm going to add a fuse in the primary also. I think there should be a fuse in the primary circuit here. If you had a short in the transformer, you know, this fuse isn't going to protect it, so that's one of the things I think should be added to this. I think the reason they put the fuse here is so that it would protect the 12 volt input here. If you just had a fuse in the primary only, if you had a short, you'd have to rely on a fuse in your DC supply, so that's probably why they just put the fuse here. Something else here, in the AGC circuit here, in the amplifier, you've got 2 capacitors here, and they control the speed of the AGC circuit. You have a fast and slow here. So for sideband, you switch C64 in parallel with C63. Here's a couple ads I found from CQ magazine back in 1972 describing these units here from Allied. I remember this when I was young. I was in high school, and I would have liked to have had one of these back then, but of course didn't have any money to do it. It's kind of interesting. (1972). Anyway, I think I'll end this one now before it gets long. But anyway, it's another old, I guess you can't call this a boat anchor. It doesn't have any vacuum tubes, but being over 50 years old, I guess it's approaching antique value. Well, anyway, that'll do it for the Allied AX190 receiver, ham radio receiver. And maybe I'll do a video on the alignment of it. We'll see. And maybe tonight I'll try to get on 80 meters and 40 meters and see what I can hear. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.